South American mines are still running. So great successes, you know. Built the mine in Chile, for instance, just to give you an idea, Charlie, is at 4,000 meters altitude in the Atacama Desert. I had to bring water from 150 kilometers, power from 200 kilometers. But again, understanding that there was an unpolished diamond, there was a mountain with $5 billion worth of gold and silver, and I would have an 80% margin mining it. So it was a massive wealth. There was massive wealth there that had obviously to be engineered correctly. You know, I had to bring water, I had to bring power, but there was enough wealth there to pay for the bills.
You also invested in Russian gold mines, didn't you?
You see, Brazil is not rich in gold mines.
Yes.
So between 1980 and the year 2000, working for TVX, you know, the bankers, they constantly told me, Eike, you have to stay a pure play, because it's easy for the analysts to analyze your company. They don't want to mix with copper and other metals. So I had to stay, it had to be maximum silver, so gold and silver. So as I basically scanned all of South America, I said, listen, I have to go where the mines are. And in the Kamchatka Peninsula, you know, the most eastern part of Russia, there were very rich mines because it's part of the Rim of Fire.
Yes.
So I went to Russia, into Kamchatka, bought 2 mines there. And, you know, after $30 million, I realized that the Russians and the bears would not have me there, or they would have taken away from me.
They just were not going to tolerate you making a lot of money.
No, they would not. They would end up taking it away. So this was my international experience. Greece, a little bit also the same.
Yeah.
I invested $330 million in Greece, and ultimately the Greek government did not give me the environmental license to explore. So that, all in all, in the year 2000, I said, my success ratio in South America was 100% in the resource business, resource and logistics, because mining has a lot to do with logistics.
Right.
Okay, because if you don't put
Tell
it all
us what
together,
you mean by logistics.
Logistics means if you build a mine in the middle of nowhere, you have to secure your water, you have to build your town, you have to have your power generation. You think like a military operation. So this is why we developed the 360-degree way of thinking, is the EBX model of doing business.
Tell me what the philosophy is to achieve the kind of success and wealth you've achieved.
I think we have, as I mentioned before, this 360-degree approach to business, which is, I think, today most entrepreneurs or CEOs, you know, they're good in some areas, but fail eventually in the legal engineering, or the fiscal engineering, or the environmental engineering. You know, there's a whole rows of areas that a CEO...
All the spokes in the 360 degrees.
Yes, yes, you know, very much like, you know, this is an interesting chart to show you.
360-degree approach.
Yes.
Proven execution capacity of EBX Group's public and private companies. All right.
Yeah.
But also there is this idea, which you mentioned with respect to oil. You, at every stage, have gone out to find the best people and been prepared to pay them and give them a participation.
Of my shares, of owner stock, which is very different also in the public markets. Shares to my top guys come from my stock. I don't dilute my investors, because I love corridor management. You know, I see them every day. If they make a mistake, it's my fault, because I cannot.
Because you chose them, or because?
No, because I chose them. It won't be dilutive to a potential. You know, normally when people issue stock, company stock, it dilutes all shareholders. In my case, the stock to my top people come from my owner stock. My share of participation in the company.
One of the people you brought in who now runs your oil exploration company was formerly head of exploration.
Yes, yes. I think, Charlie...
So this was a man who knew everything there was to know about exploration.
It's a oil finding in the Brazilian basin, and most basins, is a multidisciplinary science. So you need a lot of people. you know, reservoir engineers, statisticians, engineers, and geologists, of course. What I have learned in the 30 years is I read people better than I read books. So when a technical guy tells me what he has to show, because I put $1.3 billion to invest because of what the team showed me, that what we potentially could do. You know, they showed me what the hit ratios were. You know, that I eventually could have a 60% hit ratio, success ratio. If I spend $1 billion, at least $600 million of the billion would potentially find wells. As of today, we have had 100% success.
100%?
Yes, every well was a hit.
Every well
that we drilled since August last year was a hit. We found massive oil reserves already. 100% hit ratio.
What do you think your net worth could become in the next 10 years?
100 billion.
You think so?
Yes.
$100 billion.
Yes. This is, what can I say? I'm lucky to
That makes you the richest man in the world.
I don't know.
The richest person. Unless they do something to double what they have.
What is important, Charlie, is that Brazil is the highway for that. You see? Brazil has today the right of law. You know, the jurisdiction is great. You know, if you have an asset, the asset is protected. You have pools of talent, because Brazil, through these government controlled companies, Petrobras, Vale, Telebras, Electrobras, they have formed incredible talent pools that we have known how to grab, to put into our structures.
You have an interesting idea also about government and government's role in its relationship to the private sector.
Yes, I think, you know, projects of this size always require, you need the concessions are government concessions that are, you know, auctioned out, and you participate and you win them. But there's
so the government also has their own share.
Oh yeah, the government is most parts in the world the largest shareholder anyway in this wealth creation process. But there's the environmental piece, which you're talking to government officers concerning environmental issues. We again, on the 360-degree approach, we take care of social and environmental issues right from the beginning, not after when you start making profit. You have to show that you are good and a modern corporate citizen, especially when you talk about these infrastructure and projects that start from zero, because these are things where there was nothing before. Huh? When we build a port, I'm building a port north of Rio in the middle of nowhere. There was nothing before. So you conceive a super port to ship, you know, iron ore and soybeans to China, which is Brazil's major outlet.
Well, it's the largest market for Brazilian iron.
Already. Not only iron. I mean, China has already surpassed the U.S. as our largest trading partner. Did you know?
I did know that. Yeah. So what's the impact of that? China becoming a huge market and a huge demand for energy, for oil, for iron, because of all the building they're doing?
It's a highway between Brazil and China that the world should start paying attention to this, because it's fabulous. You know, most things that the Chinese need, we have in abundance and we can export. And there's an endless market on the other side, which is, because what does the world, in an economy, you need pent-up demand. China has an endless pent-up demand for these products: oil, food, and iron ore. These are major Brazilian.
And they just made a $10 billion loan
to Petrobras.
To Petrobras, the Brazilian oil company.
The Chinese we're bringing the Chinese steel mill to build a $5 billion investment in our superport in Brazil. So the Chinese are coming to Brazil also because they found out that it's cheaper to produce steel in Brazil than it is in China.
Do we have anything to fear from this, or should we welcome this?
I think the world should welcome it, because it's a market that only Brazil can attend, you know, can supply. Yeah. Only Brazil has
China's now the largest market for cars.
Yes. But, you know, cars, I think the world is getting very much